Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So this is episode 10, The Heart of a River. United in their attempt to save the wild horses, Amy and Ty grow closer. Lou and Peter call a truce while facing false child endangerment charges. So his child endangerment charges are absolute bullshit, and Crystal is the one who brought the charges because she didn't like how Georgie was being raised there. But the thing that I wonder and I don't get is why they are just automatically accused. You know, when you are accused of a crime, at least in a court of law, you're innocent until proven guilty. You're usually guilty until proven innocent in people's minds. And even then, sometimes you're still guilty. But in an actual court of law, you're innocent until proven guilty. You get a chance to kind of tell your story and everything. But with this, it was like there was this report and then they are immediately served with these papers. Now I know the child endangerment people, CPS, will observe Georgie in her environment, but you would think that instead of just coming right up and saying, hey, you've been accused of this, or, hey, there's these charges, you're endangering your child, that they would send a different type of notice saying, we've received this complaint, but we want to check you out first. I mean, obviously, yes, we know there are children that are in bad environments. So maybe they take it that way because unfortunately there are so many, that maybe they look at it as we have to be tough on the parents first before. But obviously in a situation like this, we know that Lou and Peter are not harming Georgie, and we know everything is going to be all right. But, I was just thinking about that from the last episode, like, why are they just like automatically like being accused? Shouldn't there be like, hey, we've received these charges, or we've received this notice, we want to check this before actually charging, instead of being like, here are these charges, this is what you have to do. And then of course this is Amy and Ty grow closer. Of course, as we saw in the last episode, Ty did end up kissing Amy again, which was a good sign, and he was going in for a second kiss when they showed up to accuse them of horse fraud or horse theft. And I'm like, is it really horse theft though when you don't own those horses? I mean, maybe that's what the cull is. Maybe they then like taken possession or something. But otherwise, I'm thinking if they don't own those horses, it's not horse theft, because you can't steal something that doesn't belong to someone. So if they were setting the horses free and the horses didn't belong to those men from the call, they don't have any grounds. But I'm worried that what Ty is going to do is that he's going to kind of withdraw again. And he's going to be like, oh, it was the moment. It was because we were there that, and I kind of got carried away. But now that we're back at Heartland, nothing has changed. And we're still on a break. Again, it's not going to matter. I know they get married at the end of the season. But if he does that, I'm still going to want to smack Ty. Just saying. I'm going to be like, dude, get your head out of your ass. So hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully by the end of this episode, they'll be back together and happy. Anyways, I have yammered on for a bit. And I am excited to get going with the second half of season 8. Let's get started.
Horse theft.
You're the officer.
How can you arrest us for horse theft? You should arrest this guy. He's the one who stole the herd off Will Vernon. The wild horses, they don't belong to Will or anybody else. I'm completely within my rights.
Then you can't.
Tax on Will's land to get them in the first place.
Then you can't charge them with theft if they don't belong to anyone.
I want to capture any wild horses in this area. I'm going to give you a choice.
Now tell me again, who do we have tonight?
The description says they grow closer, so we know that it's going to be okay. But it was like, yeah, he did kiss you and then he was going in for another kiss. Was it caught up in the moment? Maybe. But it's also because he does love her. And she says, I know what I want. But it seems like he's the one having second thoughts. And, he had told Jack in an earlier episode that he feels like he holds her back and that he would let her go so that she could fly if that's what was best. And I commented about that and I said, that's not his decision to make. That should be her decision as to whether or not she thinks he holds her back. And obviously she doesn't think he holds her back. So not his decision. And it's frustrating, that they're going through all of this. And then, it's kind of ironic right now that you have Lou and Peter who hopefully get their shit together, but right now are kind of rocky. And then you have the rocky couple who might be kind of coming back together. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that they are obviously doing. But, she said just for Georgie, and then he was like, just for us. Like he modified what he was saying. Because, it looked like he was giving the impression at the end of the last episode that he was maybe thinking of calling it quits. And I'm like, you shouldn't call it quits on the marriage just because things are tough, Peter. Life is tough. Is that what happened with you and Eden? And whatever happened with Max? They never said. I know he said Max was sick, but we haven't heard anything about Max since. So I hope Max is okay. But, it's like, you don't call it quits just because something gets tough. I've said this before, that I think couples call it quits way too easily. Like something doesn't go their way and bam, they're done. And it's like, whatever happened to fighting for what you have, fighting for what you want? I mean, there was one point with my SO and me that we were kind of rocky. We did almost break up. But we said, you know what, let's continue. Let's see how it goes. We fought for what we wanted because we did want each other. And here we are, like 21 years later. We're still together. We've lasted longer than a lot of marriages. So if you fight for what you want, suppose we had called it quits. Yeah, he would have moved on. I would have moved on. But maybe it wouldn't have ever been happy. Maybe we would have always wondered, what could have happened with us if we hadn't called it quits. And here we hadn't called it quits. We've had, of course, ups and downs and everything, but we fought to stay together, to keep ourselves together, to build a family with our cats. And that's worked, Again, 21 years later, we have we live in a house. He's got a good job. I have this. At the time of this recording, I'm working at Spirit Halloween, so I have technically 2 jobs. We've got our cats, and we're doing all right. Would we have all that if he had moved on to someone else and I had moved on to someone else? Maybe, but maybe not. But we are where we need to be. And so maybe my thoughts on that are skewed a bit, but it just seems to me that couples call it quits way too easily nowadays. They don't actually take the time to put in and fight for something. Something doesn't feel right, and so they get out. When it doesn't feel right, they push through that feeling. Because sometimes the feelings are wrong. Anyways, let's keep going.
Now, Mel, no, these are true hotshot type ones. Look at them.
And they're doing whatever they
Client
can.
roster on my phone from last month. Is that still up to date?
All these people start showing up, Matt's gonna know. I mean, they have to deal with it.
Well, I've got time to talk
Good.
around.
Actually, you don't have any time at all. I just heard meat truck's coming. Tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Hi there.
She's being all
Nice to
to her.
see you again. Will Clint be joining us today?
Actually, my boss is on vacation, so all 12 of your emails were forwarded to me. Judging by the content of some of them, I'm sure you weren't aware.
You can tell Amy didn't want to do that, but it was necessary because, again, she said you have to leave. She didn't want Matt to see because then he'd add that cult to the group. But if nothing else, if the cult gets to be free, I mean, Granny won't have his mama, but if the cult gets to be free, at least that's somewhat of a victory that at least one of them is. So that's obviously why she was doing that, even though you could tell she didn't want to.
Is it true you did a trick riding, or was it broken some other way?
And you know what?
You think I'm abused?
I would
I
contact
didn't say that.
the teacher and
Why do you say that?
Look, I
interview the
know
teacher.
how the game goes. You people are always trying to put words in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make me say things I don't mean.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
I want you to feel you can tell me things.
Okay,
So
so
what's the next step here?
I'm afraid I have to review the case further. I'll be in touch. Please stay in town.
I think what Georgie said really got to her, which is why she was all upset there, because she said, you're supposed to be helping me. She's accusing my mom and dad of abusing me, and I'm not. Well, and like I said, you would think that they would reach out and talk to Jeff. And you would think they would reach out and talk to this trick writing teacher, because she was talking about trick writing, and she said, oh no, it's supervised. And if I were Lou, I would have said, I will give you the name of the trick writing teacher and her phone number if you want to get her on the phone and talk to her. She had mentioned that Lou wasn't there, and it's like there still was adult supervision. You have these events for kids and you say adult supervision, but you don't say parent supervision, you just say adult. So she had adult supervision. Crystal wasn't exactly the best influence, but there still was adult supervision. And parents can't be everywhere 24/7. As Lou said, she was taking care of Katie. She was adult supervising her other daughter. How do you expect her to be in two places at once? And Georgie even said it was my fault. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I mean, I love how Georgie is just totally defending them. And like Peter was saying about the whole thing about, we couldn't stop her from going out to the barn if we tried. It's like, yeah, you can tell. She loves it there. She loves it there. She does these chores. She loves doing these chores. It's like, this isn't hard labor to go out and muck out a couple stalls or feed hay to the horses. Again, I would be asking things like, do you call kids in other homes doing dishes, taking out the trash, walking the dog? Do you count that as hard labor? They're daily chores. And like he said, we live on a ranch. There are things that need to get done. So I think what Georgie said sold it.
That's my best offer.
Not enough.
Got a lot of people there, though. That's good.
Others, many takers as we know.
Someone's coming up to him.
why hasn't she called? And
Because
Clint
it takes a while,
picked the
Lou.
worst possible time to be on vacation.
You brought that on yourself, Crystal.
Complaints. People are furious. You're turning down everyone's offer. Why?
They're too low. I told you they go the highest bidder.
Horses killed my father.
No, they didn't.
I understand you're under fire from the CPS. Must be very difficult. You should know, since you're the one who instigated the entire thing.
I don't
Mhm.
see how you can show your face and argue.
There's definitely something else that they can do. I mean, remember Ty had called Scott, and Scott has connections, so maybe Scott is getting something done. But Matt was just going to do that no matter what, because as Amy said, this person offered $1,200. That's way more than any meat place or whatever she'd said. But he, of course, had already made up his mind that he wasn't going to sell them. He wants those horses dead, which proves that he's just a fucking asshole. And, because he said those horses killed my father. It's like, no, they didn't. That was your father's passion, and you're going to let his passion die because you are a selfish son of a bitch. That's what I would have said. I would have directly said that. I would have said, you're going to let your father's passion, your father's love for these horses die because you are a selfish son of a bitch. Must suck to be you. Like I said, I would probably end up in jail or probably with a bloody nose, but I wouldn't care. It'd be worth it. Like I was saying at the beginning of the episode, the guy was saying you can put these horses back in the paddock or be arrested, and I would have been arrested because I would have been making a point. It's like, yeah, you can't do a whole lot from jail, but I would have been arrested to make a point, to show that, I'm with the animals.
That's awesome.
Matt, you can't do this. I don't know what happened with your father,
No, you don't.
but these horses don't deserve to suffer because of it.
Yeah.
He dropped dead. Just,
That's not their fault.
yeah. He had years.
He was doing what he loved. And he loved those horses.
Mm-hmm.
Think of how he would feel watching what's going on today.
Yeah. Jack's watching him.
Okay.
Good. Finally got his head out of his ass. Ty, I get what he was saying, and maybe it was good for them to have that little bit of separation to see what they could do on their own. But, and Amy even said that she had changed, that she was a nightmare. And it's like, maybe she had changed, but maybe she needed that change to come back to where she was. Because she's always been, and someone even called her on it, that she used to be all about, doing it for the horses no matter what. Now she just wants to deal with rich clients. And I was like, yeah, going on that tour, I think, did change her in a way. Someone, was it Georgie, had said that she was a snob or something. And that is correct. And she needed that. She needed that kick in the ass to kind of bring her back down to earth, be knocked off her pedestal. And that happens, but she's still the same person at heart. And luckily, these past few days, he had been able to see that, as he observed her, he realized that yes, she was the same girl as he said. And I think he kind of was falling in love with her again, or falling more in love with her, because he said, you are the girl I fell in love with. Because, he fell in love with her watching the way she was with horses and how passionate she was. And I think he was worried that with her going on that tour, that had gone. And that his Amy had gone. But luckily, not. So he finally got his head out of his ass.
Can I tell you?
Tell him what?
Are you ready to go?
Thanks, guys, for everything.
He's going to drive his truck.
So let
making a nice meal for them coming home.
So what do you think?
3 months?
3 months, what's happening for a wedding?
I like how they said 3 months for their wedding. Lou's like, well, you don't have time. And I'm like, well, Lou, you really didn't have much time to plan. You had to have your wedding. So, yeah, it'll be okay. It'll be good. I'm glad that obviously they had a lot to discuss on the drive back, which is what they did. They discussed, that they were still. I know he said, I want to do that with you. And I don't know, if I was Amy, I might have been like, well, we're going to kind of get to re-know each other. We're going to break off the engagement for now, and we'll still date and everything. But, over the past few months, you hurt me, and so you need to prove that. I wouldn't just rush right into marriage. I would have at least broken the engagement off and then said, say something in 6 months. But at least they're finally back together. Oh, that's annoying. And Lou and Peter, I like how they were, what they did. The united front was better. It made them better. Because she had said, do it together. And I was pretty clever, though, bringing that Abby there. They must have hit her car, too, and just had her wait in the other room and then, brought Crystal in. Because, she heard it all. She heard that she was basically just kind of blackmailing him. And she said, each month, eat cash. And I'm just like, jeez. But, I would have said something like that. I would have been like, the fact that you would accept money to go away and leave Georgie says everything. Because no decent aunt would accept any money. Oh, hey, it just went down again. At least this time I'm not doing an episode, but yay! It just went down again. And again, I know that Jeff has to work, but I still think he should have maybe shown up to help in the fight against Chris. Because in something like that, that's kind of important. And if he had said, I need to go sort out some personal matters, he could have gotten the time off. So personally, I think Jeff should have appeared. But I'm going to go ahead and start the next episode here. I hope you will join me. If you enjoyed this reaction, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And hit that notification bell to be alerted of future reacts. Had a bit of trouble with the internet. It kept going down this episode, so I get to count how many times it's going to go down in the next episode. Technology, I tell you. So follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you can. And thank you to my editor, Captain Factory. Check out her link in the description for your editing needs. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.